you might find it hard to watch. This man with the blue baseball cap handling produce at a grocery store, his shoulder bag is about to explode. You see how much force with which the explosion sprays outwards. That'll become important later. But this man is badly hurt, and there are thousands like him.
Across Lebanon and into Syria, pagers exploding.
Handheld pagers used by Hezbollah members exploded.
Wireless devices exploding in the user's hands.
Hezbollah's news outlet reports these explosions were the result of walkie-talkies.
So let's start with the question, what happened? Across Lebanon on Tuesday at around 3:30 in the afternoon, thousands of pagers exploded almost at the same time, likely tampered with to detonate remotely at the push of a button. The targets? Members of Hezbollah, a designated terror group, sworn enemies of Israel, and increasingly reliant on pagers for communication. Then, a day later, on Wednesday, a similar coordinated attack, this time on Hezbollah walkie-talkies.
For the second day, panic spread across Lebanon as more electronic devices suddenly transformed into bombs.
This presumably Israeli operation is extremely sophisticated, getting not only into the pagers, but then into the walkie-talkies.
This begins to answer the next big question: who would do this? Israel has not taken responsibility for the attack, nor does it tend to, even when it is behind covert attacks like this. But nobody denies Israeli intelligence would certainly be capable of something on this scale. Hezbollah has blamed Israel directly, and of course, the two have been locked in conflict for years, and particularly since the October 7th attacks.
The relationship between Israel and Hezbollah has been extraordinarily tense and always on the precipice of, frankly, another next conflict.
This has really come to a head just in the last 11 months since October 7th, with Hezbollah firing missiles on an almost daily basis into Israel since the day after that attack, since October 8th.
Tonight, Israel says at least a dozen children and teenagers were killed after a rocket hit a soccer field where they were playing.
It may not be a coincidence that just hours before thousands of pager bombs were detonated, Israel's prime minister issued a statement expanding the country's war goals to include returning the residents of the north securely to their homes. Now, that's a reference to Israel's northern border with Lebanon, the front line of its ongoing clashes with Hezbollah. Tens of thousands of Israelis have fled that area because it's too dangerous to stay. And Benjamin Netanyahu has put it in writing. This war isn't just about Gaza and Hamas anymore. It's also about securing the north. And that means addressing the threat to Israel from Hezbollah.
There's significant political pressure that's been growing and has now reached almost an apex in Israel.
Israel may never admit responsibility, but nobody disputes it was behind this. Even the country's defense minister posted online shortly after the attacks began, "We are opening a new phase in the war. The center of gravity is shifting to the north." But on the question, who got hurt in this attack? The answer isn't so straightforward. Members of Hezbollah were undeniably the targets. Hezbollah itself says the pagers belonged to employees of various Hezbollah units and institutions. And it confirmed that at least 8 of its members were killed. Several of the most recent walkie-talkie explosions even happened at a funeral for 3 Hezbollah members who were killed by exploding pagers the day before, according to the Associated Press. But according to Lebanon's health ministry, at least 2 of the 12 people killed in pager explosions were children. Thousands more people were injured, Iran's ambassador to Lebanon among them, and the walkie-talkie bombs the following day are reported to have killed at least 20 additional people, injuring several hundred more than that. What's difficult to know is how many of those who were hurt were members of Hezbollah and how many were civilians. It's impossible to know who was holding which pagers at which times and who was close enough to be hurt when they exploded in very open areas.